I remember back in 2017, I was on a subcommittee with the schools, right? I was, as a member of the Board of Selectmen, we were looking at our school footprint and, trying to figure out what would make the most sense in terms of, our physical infrastructure in town for our schools. And we've submitted, we've tried to get this feasibility study for at least the last 5 years, and we've failed every time. I was actually kind of skeptical even this year going into it, kind of if we don't get it this time, let's start focusing our efforts in other areas and start renovating some of these buildings using our own money. Fortunately, this time around, I think there was a real concerted effort from all the stakeholders, including State Representative Scanlon, the school administration, the school committee, the town council. We sent a letter of support to the MSBA, signed with the town manager. The school committee may have been a part of that as well, if I remember correctly. And we actually allocated the funding to pay for the feasibility study, probably 2 years in advance if we think about it now. So that really sent a strong message that, hey, North Attleboro is, and the leadership, especially of North Attleboro, is committed to this and supportive of this. And I think that probably made a big difference this time around in getting us kind of to that next phase. It's a 270-day phase now, so we're in this eligibility period. I wasn't even really aware that there was like an eligibility period, and then after 270 days, that's when you would be eligible for the feasibility study, until yesterday's meeting. So we've got to check a few boxes. One of them is forming a school building committee. I'm sure that's going to have representatives from across the town and the public, and I hope parents as well. And a few other plans that have to be developed before we can actually move forward with that feasibility study. I think the council is probably going to have to take a vote as well authorizing it. I'm not sure about that part of it, but I think that's just the way I think it's going to unfold.
John, Justin brought up a good point, and I've been following not only North Attleboro, but Attleboro before they got approval to go ahead with the construction of a new high school. I mean, Dayton Rehoboth's been dealing with it. Every community deals with it at one time or another, and I think Justin hit it on the head. The MSBA wants to know a town is serious about it, and the fact that the town council approved money from free cash was probably the difference this time around.
I think that, and I think the fact that we voted unanimously on council to have this project move forward, that we were all behind it, and working very closely with State Representative Scanlon to make sure that every single stakeholder in town was in favor, moving forward, speaking with one voice, trying to get this approved. I think that helped.
I was talking with a North Attleboro resident last night. We were talking about it, and they said, well, let me see. When Attleboro needed a new high school, they needed to approve a debt exclusion. We just approved a Proposition 2.5 overrate. Are we going to be hit with a debt exclusion vote in the next few years?
Yes. I don't think there's any way around it. If this feasibility study goes forward, I don't see how we could possibly fund up to $100 million. If we go forward with the renovations, maybe that puts the debt exclusion into question, right? So if it's a renovation approach, there might be different alternatives to how we fund that. If it's a brand new building, I would say unequivocally there would have to be a debt exclusion.